However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a 5-year low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my.
A hearing on the economy quickly turned into one of the most confrontational moments of the day. Representative Maxine Waters repeatedly challenged Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent over Trump's tariff policies, rising housing costs, and inflation, while Bessent pushed back with his own economic arguments. What followed was a tense back and forth that exposed two very different visions of how the U.S. economy should be managed.
The ranking member of our committee, Mrs. Waters of California, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you very much. Secretary Bessent, in the FSOC annual report, you stressed the importance of economic growth to promote financial stability. While you noted many ways you plan to deregulate Wall Street and plant the seeds for another crisis, you said little about the harms of inflation. I find this odd, as the president and you have finally began discussing in the media how the price of goods are way too high. Notably, you mentioned that tariffs may need to come down to lower costs for Americans. So I have a few questions about this. As a former hedge fund manager in 2004, and I don't want you to go into any long details about this, but did you write a letter to investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs, writing that, quote, tariffs are inflationary? Did you say that at that time, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that you said that.
New York Times.
Then last summer, when you testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, "There is no inflation. Tariffs are not being passed on to consumers." You were quite definitive, and even claimed that critics had, quote, "tariff derangement syndrome." Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again, I want to be clear, so just let me ask you, are tariffs inflationary, yes or no?
According to the San Francisco Federal Reserve, with 150 years of data,
yes or no?
Tariffs do not cause inflation. San Francisco Federal
Well, last
Reserve,
November, as the Trump administration finally began to realize that affordability issues in America are not a hoax, you told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't inflationary, and as you and the president like to say, are paid for by the foreign country, a tariff on coffee or bananas shouldn't raise the price of either for American consumers. Well, that's the Trump logic, but that isn't reality. It did raise prices across the board, and you know it. I think you knew back in July also. The real question is, why would you even impose a tariff on a good that a country doesn't grow or make, as that would only serve to punish the American consumer? Now, as you know, this committee has taken a bipartisan approach to addressing another real affordability crisis. Housing. Rents are too high. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a 5-year low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my.
Let's just have the facts,
reclaiming my time. Thank you. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has gone worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as I said, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in 500,000 fewer homes built at a time when we need more homes built, not less. Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive. And once again, you know it, as Axios has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol terrorizing American communities has also harmed home construction across America. So I ask you, Secretary Bessent, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing or affordability and putting the economy at risk? Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative Waters,
Will you be the voice?
Will
you be the voice? Will you be the voice?
Of inflation,
will you be the voice of reason?
And
will you be the voice of reason?
A study
yes
from
no?
Wharton University
Reclaiming my
has
time.
shown
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Was the mass
reclaiming my time.
unfettered immigration
Mr. Chair, will you
let
let
in
him know
between 10
that
and
when I
20
ask
million
him time
immigrants
Time does
took
belong
up
to
the
the
housing
gentlewoman
stock.
from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
Can you
took
shut
up the
him up?
housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the
The
gentleman,
gentleman took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
the gentlewoman's
He took
time
up
has
my time.
expired. The gentlewoman's time has
Well,
expired.
if you
Mr.
wanna
Chair,
put-
parliamentary
If you
inquiry.
wanna protect him,
The chair
Mr.
recognizes the vice chairman of the
Mr.
committee,
Chair.
Mr.
If you
Heisinger.
want to
Parliamentary inquiry.
go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
Representative Maxine Waters used her time during this hearing to focus on an issue affecting nearly every American household, the rising cost of living. Her questions centered on tariffs and whether they ultimately increase prices for consumers. Waters argued that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent had taken inconsistent positions over the years. She referenced earlier comments she said suggested tariffs could contribute to inflation, then contrasted those with his more recent public statements defending the administration's tariff policy. Rather than answering with a simple yes or no, Bessent pointed to research from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco and argued that tariffs do not necessarily cause broad inflation across the economy. That distinction became the central disagreement of the hearing. Waters wasn't asking about academic economic theory. She was asking whether American families are paying more at the checkout line because of tariff policies. She argued that if the administration was willing to reduce tariffs on products like coffee and bananas to lower prices, then it seemed to acknowledge that tariffs can affect what consumers ultimately pay. That exchange highlights an important point often missing from political debates. Economists generally distinguish between higher prices on specific imported goods and economy-wide inflation. While tariffs can increase costs for certain products, economists continue to debate how much those increases translate into broader inflation depending on supply chains, competition, exchange rates, and how businesses respond. The hearing then shifted to another affordability issue that has become increasingly important: housing. Waters argued that tariffs on construction materials such as lumber, steel, and appliances increase building costs at a time when the country already faces a shortage of affordable housing. She warned that higher construction costs could mean fewer homes are built and higher prices for buyers and renters alike. Bessent attempted to respond by pointing to lumber prices and other market conditions, but Waters repeatedly reclaimed her time, preventing him from giving a lengthy answer. As a result, much of the exchange became less about resolving the policy disagreement and more about controlling the direction of the hearing. Toward the end, Waters broadened her criticism beyond tariffs. She argued that immigration enforcement actions have also affected the construction